Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Belharra, the birth story of a biotech podcast. I'm Jeff Yonker, your host and CEO of Belharra Therapeutics. I'm looking forward to today's conversation with three of our outstanding scientific leaders at Belharra. Each veteran drug hunters, and on any given day, they're directing the work of our labs, making this whole platform hum. Yvonne Schmidt is our head of medicinal chemistry. Jessica Alexander is our head of program management. And Olesya Ulanovskaya, our senior director of biology. Not only will we talk about the critical role each plays on our team, we've also dive into their perspectives and experiences as female leaders in science and in biotech. For any girls or young women out there who aspire to be scientists or leaders in this industry, I can't think of a more inspiring role model than Yvonne, Jessica, and Olesya. So, to all three of you, welcome, and thanks for joining the podcast today.
Why don't we start with this question? Each of you are distinguished scientists. When did you first know you wanted to become a scientist?
That's not an easy question.
Because it was always, or?
It's kind of naturally happened, when you're a kid and then you like the numbers and then you like the questions, you like the answer, you like finding the answers, so you just kind of day by day.
It made sense after a while.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay. So it wasn't like you woke up one day and you said, I want to be a scientist. You had that in mind. And did you? were there other career aspirations that were sort of woven in there in between, or?
Gymnastics was a big one for me, but then, a few drops here and there. It's like science is better. It's not as dangerous.
You miss the balance games once or twice, that changes your perspective.
Exactly.
Yvonne, what about you? Did you always know you wanted to be a scientist?
So for me, I think pretty much yes. What type of science? That changed over time, for sure. So I wanted to be an archaeologist.
Nice.
So I collected all of the, dinosaur bones that came with some newspapers and all these kind of things, and I read everything.
Wait,
about...
what newspapers did you read that came with our dinosaur bones?
Well, kids' newspapers.
Oh, okay.
Right, so, just also wanted to learn everything about, I think I started with Egypt, then moved on to Rome and Greek and all of the history stuff and old stones, and walking around Europe is pretty easy. You find yourself in a castle that's like just 1,000 years old. So always loved that. And but then moving forward, I realized that you'll never make any, contribution to what's going on in the here and now. So you're learn about history and the past, but really want to, change something in the now. And so
you're psychologically scarring all the archaeologists out there right now, so it's all right. Keep going.
I know, but
I get it.
It's the more that it's a more applied science, and then it's like how you find out, how old something is. You need physics and chemistry to do that. So the further I moved along, I guess, in my journey, the more I realized I'm more interested in the okay and how, and then another how behind that. So
yeah. Oh, that makes sense. How about you, Jess? When did you know?
I think I rebelled against it for a while because both my parents are scientists.
Okay.
So there was strong pressure in that area, and I loved English literature and stuff. But then
who doesn't?
But I gravitated back towards science because of the ability to just understand so much more about the world as you look around it. Yeah. The understanding of chemistry, biology, just really kind of brought that. And I thought at first I'd go more into teaching of the science aspects, because I do really enjoy working with people, and I thought that was a nice way to kind of give back. But I also grew up in New Jersey, which had a thriving pharmaceutical scene at the time.
I've heard that,
And the curiosity of what was going on beyond the doors led me in college to work with some retired industrial scientists on some projects, and I really could then see sort of the application of that type of research, and it really drew me in, and I haven't looked back.
And Olesya, Yvonne, what about you two? Were you thinking teaching at any point, or was it always a thought that you'd be more headed in sort of application of science?
Not really teaching for me, but I was in chemistry first. So to Yvonne's point, just speaking what kind of science you want to do, I actually started in chemistry, and I got my bachelor degree in chemistry. Okay. But then I was mixing a bunch of compounds in a test tube and doing NMR all day long. mix NMR. And I was like, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And then I tried biology, and you grow cells, you nurture cells, you look at them, you kill them at the end. It's so romantic, you know? And I was
True
like,
love and then tragedy.
never go back to chemistry. You know, like one more NMR and I'm done.
All right, Yvonne, you can't just listen to that. Tell her why chemistry is the true calling.
So to me, I mean, I wanted to even go a step, I don't know, depending on how you see that, I wanted to go a step further, up until I think finishing my PhD, I wanted to be a chemistry professor. And then over time, I noticed that I wanted to be more, just more closer to something happening. So the academic research is so far away from an application. I wanted to be just a step closer to implementing something that is going to be, in patients.
Yeah.
So that was, for me, that was the driver to steer towards industry more. But that came super late in my career.
Yeah. And I know each of your backgrounds a little bit well enough to know that you've each had industry stops along the way before coming to Belharra. So what got you here? Like, what was it that, along that path, either that you did or wanted to do, that sort of brought you to say, maybe Belharra is the place for me?
Well, I'm a chemical biologist by training, right? So Belharra is chemical biology-based platform. So that seems like a perfect match, right? So I can apply all my knowledge and expertise in chemical biology to make a difference. And it's a new platform. It has advantages over others, and it's very different. So it's a challenge and fun at the same time, right?
Well, and you're part of the cravat crew, right?
Exactly.
So you knew kind of, this one was bubbling up and
it's still different. It's different from anything else I've done. It's a chemical biology platform, but it's so differentiated, and there are pros and cons to everything and things to figure out. So now we have a challenge to kind of figure it out and just go for it.
Yeah. How about you, Jess? You've had a lot of different experience before.
Yeah, I think the fast-paced biotech is really exciting, and you have a huge potential to make a difference in patient lives much faster than anywhere else, which I really like. And it was also the team of people. So as you mentioned, I'd worked with a number of them before, and or trained with them in the cravat lab, and it's a fantastic, really motivating group to be a part of.
There's definitely a getting the band back together element. I mean, a number of different bands, I guess, in some ways. And Yvonne, you actually are part of that too, a different band maybe, but sort of what brought you here and sort of what kind of led you to say?
For sure. So one aspect is for sure moving to a smaller company, so just be more in the middle of things, I guess. So I was very much straight into pursuing medicinal chemistry as a career. So now I feel like moving forward with Belharra, I was able to see so much more than just chemistry, right? I'm so much more integrated in working with all the groups, different departments, and just see all of that going on. Whereas in a larger organization, that's just not possible to this degree. So that was definitely a big part of the appeal of Belharra for me. And then actually trusting, my boss here at Belharra and just knowing the chemistry team well. So, yeah.
It's one of the things I think that we got lucky is that we were able to sort of bring almost fully intact teams, multiple teams, from different places here and kind of get ramped up. And so you and a number of the chemists from the Inception crew were able to sort of jump together, and that gave us almost like instant awesome chemistry, right? And similarly from Abide, we got a big crew of talented team members. So tell me, what you each are in a different function in the company. One of the things I've noticed is that you can look at an org chart and say, all right, we have a biology team, and we have a proteomics team, and we have a chemistry team, and we have sort of research and operations, and we have G&A. But is that the way it shows up in your day, or if not, what does it look like? Jess is shaking her head, so you're going to go first.
No, I think the fantastic thing is the amount of collaboration and interaction between the teams that goes on here, because like you said, the R&D team is super small if you're just looking at the functional aspects where program and alliance management kind of fits in. But I get the privilege of working every day with chemists on the team, with biologists on the team, with the proteomics data coming. Everybody has to come together to make this this work, and it happens seamlessly every day, and it's such a joy to be part of it.
Yeah, yeah.
I do think we are pretty integrated, and I'm convinced chemistry and proteomics cannot live without biology.
Well, that's true, and actually they would say the same of them. So yeah, it does seem like it's a well-integrated group, right? And that there's sort of a comfort in sort of speaking into common issues and common questions. And so, talk to me a little bit about culture, because that's another thing that you've had enough experience to see different environments. What's sort of consistent and good about Belharra that sort of, this is like table stakes or requisite element for a biotech? And then what are some things maybe that you see that are relatively unique about who we are?
I mean, to me, definitely just seeing, this many science and this many women in leadership. Mm-hmm. So this is something definitely at previous places was a lot more male dominated.
Yeah. And that's one of the things, let's come back to that. I want to stick a pin in that because it's an important topic and I want to come to it next. Other thoughts before we turn to that?
I think we work hard, but we do have fun, and we know how to have fun, and we know how to have fun together, as this team. Yeah. So I think that way, what makes it very different.
Yeah. It does. I mean, we talk sometimes about casual intensity, like this sort of ability to be really pretty driven, right? As a group, I think it's a pretty hard-charging, hard-working group, and yet I do agree it's also a fun-loving place, and we seem to do a pretty good job of it. What do you attribute that to?
I think one part is that all of us are super passionate about what we're doing, and that we're going to make it work. And if I am waiting for your data, you feel that pressure like very acutely, right? And the other way around. So I think, and if you're in a larger place where things can just, get onto a long list of to-do things that but it's not really their priority, but you're waiting for their data, right? They don't feel the same pressure that you feel, right? So, and here we're so integrated that we just need to work together and get moving, right? So I think that's a big part of it.
I wonder if part of it is also sort of the selection, like you said, the teams kind of came here, so people had good working relationships. These were people who knew, worked well together, and everyone seems to have selected for people who also care about each other.
And trust too, right? I think that there's a fair bit of belief that, and I think rightly so, that folks have good intentions. They have your back. They're trying to actually make you better. They're trying to all pull on the oars in the same direction. And so, I would agree. So let's come back to the topic that Yvonne, you raised, because it's an important one, which is women in science. And so at a societal level, we have a definite shortfall. We need more women to go into science. And then I would say at an industry level, that's even more true probably. And then at a leadership level in industry, it's also, I think, acutely needed. You could say even at a societal level, we're acutely short of women in leadership as well. You three are, somewhat unique, right? In that you've all got chemistry backgrounds, chemical biology backgrounds, which in itself is a narrower slice of sort of women in science. Talk to me a little bit about how you think about that sort of delta between what we have in those different facets and what should be. And then what does that mean for us here at Belharra?
So I think I absolutely agree with the points you raised, and it has to start pretty young, I think, where you get women, girls interested in this. So I was super excited that we had the opportunity at Belharra to host a STEAM event here, which Yvonne, you were super involved in helping planning. This amazing chance for us to show a younger generation what actually happens in drug discovery across all these different functions. And I think that kind of engagement and exposure across, a wide swath of diversity within San Diego, hopefully will help that future pipeline.
I love the idea of a pipeline. That's a good way of describing it.
I totally agree, and just seeing things along my own journey is that growing up, you would be liking numbers, as you said, liking math and liking science classes in school. You're always like the weird one, right? As a girl. Totally. People look at you like, wait, you're good at math? And then you need to just see other females, like, being where you might think about going, right? So my formative experience was that in 11th grade, I got a teacher that was, she just came straight from university, and she was a new chemistry teacher. But that was the first female chemistry teacher that I have seen, right? So to me, that was a very important experience, and I started to talk to her and how do you study chemistry? All of these things that you want to know, right?
Yeah.
So it's about getting in contact and seeing just other women do what you think about doing. I think that's an important aspect.
So it's the visibility, right? Giving girls that role model, starting early. And so, I couldn't agree with you more. I think that's team event. We got to do that more, right? And regularly. What else? What else could we be doing?
Maybe I can jump in here.
Yeah.
I think Belharra actually lives by example. We actually have very good female representation on the leadership.
Yep.
And I think it's contagious. When a new person comes in for an interview, you just get to know more about Belharra. People see it, right?
Yeah.
And the more females come in and see that, they want to join, they want to contribute, they want to be part of it.
I think that's right. I personally believe that like attracts like to a degree, and so and that's not just to say that women that we're recruiting are going to join because they see a woman in leadership. I think it's also that if you see that there is a culture here that is both embracing and accepting all backgrounds, all perspectives, all gender roles, that's you're going to build on. It's going to become a cultural kind of cornerstone for us. So we try. I mean, that's sort of the hope, is that's what we're building.
And can I build on that point a
Please,
little bit more? Because I think another thing about the culture here is not just the women in leadership, but that the culture and the tone set here also allows the flexibility and the acknowledgement that we're not one-dimensional work only.
Yeah.
So people have the flexibility to contribute and impact things at work and still take care of the things they need to with their families.
Yeah.
And I think that allows the mobility for women to move up in a company as well.
No, you know what, and it's a great point. There's plenty of places that don't structure it that way. A lot of it comes back, though, to the caliber and the type of people we're attracting, whether it's female or male, is that it's to what you said a little bit earlier, what all of you said, which is that level of commitment and passion that each of our team members brings. I mean, it's because I've had CEOs ask me, like, so, do you guys have a policy on X or Y or, Z? And essentially getting to the question of how do you make sure people are showing up? How do people are giving in their full, how are they making sure that they're clocking in the right? And I feel like that's just totally the wrong line of questioning. If you hire the right kind of person and then just trust them to bring their A game in the way that they're going to, whatever works, in their world, and meshes with ours, that it'll take care of itself, right? It'll sort itself out. That's part of that flexibility we want to build in. How do we acknowledge that, at least somewhat stereotypically, but that there are different styles of leadership, and that that women often do sort of bring a different style to their leadership than sort of men, sort of stereotypically. How do we make room for different types of leadership or different styles of leadership that is embracing of that, and the fact that there may be differences or maybe different even benefits that come from those differences? So as we think about leadership and growing our next generation of leadership here, leaders, how do we build that in and make sure that's something that we're being mindful of?
You said it yesterday very well. You actually said we embrace any kind of diversity. Any diversity there is,
you're going to stick me with my own words here.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think you said it well yesterday, whether you're male or female, whether your style is A, B, or C, any kind of diversity is appreciated, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's. I think that is. There's value in that, right? I think that having different vantage points on all of these really tough problems we're wrestling with. So I don't know where the unique insight's going to come from, but we need it, right? And so let's cultivate a place that gathers them.
I mean, one aspect that I've observed both you and Gary do often in a meeting is that you support like people that are not necessarily speaking up just by themselves, just because for whatever reason, they're more introverted, they're not as confident. You make sure those voices are heard. You just ask them straight out and give them a space to give their opinion. And I think this is really important, because once this happens a couple times, like these people, like they develop that confidence. They need the next time around to speak up
That's such a good
So-
point.
I think, and it goes back again to that sort of, we're working on such hard things, and how do you bring our absolute best collective ideas? And part of it is making sure everybody feels like they've got that power to speak up.
And also that transparent environment.
Yeah.
You want to hear as many opinions as you can, right? Especially when you're dealing with like some challenging questions.
Yeah.
So being transparent and kind of embrace people thinking about it and contributing.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
And having leadership that actually listens. It's pretty amazing. Listening is very important.
Sorry, what was that? That was late in the day, too cheap. 10 years from now, what do you, give me your vision of Belharra. What's something you think that we're going to have done that you're excited about?
I mean, to me, we will have just tapped this huge opportunity, just drugging a big piece of the proteome, which means that we will have access, like drugs for patients that previously, nobody could help them. To me, like 10 years, really, that's where I see us. Just like having drugs on the market or close to it that just nobody else would have had the opportunity to find.
That's where I want to be.
Yeah.
I'd like Belharra to be like a validated engine, that it's not just one target, it's not one drug, it's a platform that produces consistently, over years.
Last question, where's your happy place? If you're not here and you're off, finding joy and fulfillment, what are you doing?
We are going for a run, having a great red wine afterwards with a view.
Oh, all right. All things that can be had in San Diego, so that's convenient. Yeah.
It is indeed.
I'm like camping and climbing outside.
I was
going to
say, climbing's going to factor in somewhere here. That's awesome. Are the kids still climbing?
Yes.
Yeah, excellent. That's awesome.
They're getting better and better. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, no. I mean, at one point, it's like your heart in your throat, right? I mean, don't let them do free soloing, please.
Try not to.
Yeah. Jess, how about you? What's your happy place?
Probably cooking some new recipes
I
and
was
sharing
hoping
them
you'd say
with
that. Some
friends and
baking
family.
and maybe bringing some things in even.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Dinner at Jess's place is also a very happy place.
It was a real pleasure speaking with all three of you. I'm so grateful for all you do. Each of you have been involved in this company from very early days and played a huge part in making it what it is today. It's good talking with you all.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.